We had a historic caucus in the old Senate chamber. We had a very nice discussion, and it's very clear that the vast majority of the Democratic caucus wants to keep Senator Lieberman as chairman of this committee, member of the Armed Services Committee, and that was done. It's all over with. Joe Lieberman is a Democrat. He's part of this caucus. I'd be happy to take any questions that you have.
Is it your belief that the automakers, one or more of them, would face irreconcilable problems if they're unable to get new legislative help before the new Congress?
Right now, it's very clear that the Treasury Department has acknowledged they have the ability legally to help the auto industry if they choose to. It's very clear that the chairman of the Federal Reserve has the authority to help the automobile industry anytime he chooses to do so. We've got legislation pending on the floor that mandates the money coming from the $700 billion that we've appropriated. We're in the process of working our way through that. We're going to have a caucus at 12:30. We'll talk about that, and we'll come to the floor tomorrow and find out where we are.
Mr. Lee, can you describe...
For Senator Lieberman.
We accepted the statement made by one of the more senior members of the Senate that this was not a time for retribution. It was a time for moving forward on the problems of this country. The Great Depression may be, in the history annals, a worse time economically for the history of our country than today, but we don't know yet. We have all kinds of problems we need to move forward on, and we need to be unified. We need to be unified as Democrats. We need to be unified as a Senate, and that's what this meeting that we just completed is all about. Moving forward and handling the problems of this country at the best of our ability, and that's what we're going to do.
Mr. Leader, I see Senator Lieberman is just a few steps behind her. Do we ask him to come to the microphone to ask him a question?
Senator Lieberman will have all kinds of times to talk to you at a later time.
What do you say to some Democrats, some liberals who maybe aren't even in the Senate, but just kind of out there, who were quite angry at the senator, who wanted you to take swifter...
First of all, let me say that I'm pretty well understand anger. I would defy anyone to be more angry than I was. But I also believe that if you look at the problems we face as a nation, is this a time we walk out of here saying, boy, did we get even? I am very satisfied with what we did today. I feel good about what we did today. I don't apologize to anyone what we did today. We're moving forward, recognizing that there's a period of time that in Joe Lieberman's political career that I will never understand or approve. But I also recognize that he's been in public office for 4 decades. One of the most progressive members to come from the state of Connecticut, and that says a lot. Someone that was years ago as a young man left the university, one of the premier universities of our country, to go south to fight for the civil rights movement. A man who moved forward on legislation that was important to his state and to our country. And we today announced to the American people that we're going to move forward and handle the problems that face our country. And that's what this is all about.
Thank you, everybody. Senator Lieberman.
The question is, do I trust Senator Lieberman? The answer is yes, I trust Senator Lieberman. Let's look at a little bit of history, everybody. We could not have had a Democratic majority for the last 2 years, but for Joe Lieberman. We could not have passed the historic budgets that were led by Chairman Conrad, but for Senator Lieberman. So we feel that what happened today has put this behind us. It's something that we're looking forward. We're not looking back. We're not looking back at the 95 filibusters that were conducted. Those are something that took place in the past. We're looking forward to the future, a future that we believe sets a new tone for America.
Thank you, chairmanship? Yes.
Look, we had a very open and constructive discussion about my status in the caucus, after which my colleagues voted to support a resolution which I believe was fair and forward-leaning. It's a resolution that not only resolves the current dilemma, but it's a resolution of reconciliation and not retribution, and I appreciate it. I particularly look forward to continuing my work as chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee and chairman of the Airland Subcommittee on Armed Services. And in that capacity, to work as I have in the past with the new president, Barack Obama, and his administration to keep the American people secure here at home and to protect our freedom from enemies abroad. This is the beginning of a new chapter. And I know that my colleagues in the Senate Democratic Caucus were moved not only by the kind words that Senator Reid said about my longtime record, but by the appeal from President-elect Obama himself that the nation now unite to confront our very serious problems. And indeed by the meeting and statement issued yesterday by President-elect Obama and Senator McCain. So this is all about going forward. The problems our country faces now at home, particularly and abroad, are immense, and we will only deal with them constructively on behalf of the people who are good enough to send us to Washington if we display the kind of unity that was displayed within our caucus today, and hopefully it will go from our caucus across the aisle to our Republican colleagues as well. I particularly want to thank Senator Reid for his support and constructive assistance throughout this. I want to thank particularly I don't want to call them a gang of four, but they were four great friends who led this effort to draft this resolution. My colleague and friend of 40 years, my senior senator from Connecticut, Chris Dodd, Senator Ken Salazar of Colorado, Senator Bill Nelson of Florida, and Senator Tom Carper of Delaware. But really, thanks to all my colleagues.
Senator, you've been in your subcommittee chairmanship of the environmental
friendship, working relationship that I have with Senator McCain. The resolution expresses strong disapproval and rejection of statements that I made about Senator Obama during the campaign. And in that regard, I said very clearly, some of the statements, some of the things that people have said I said about Senator Obama are simply not true. There are other statements that I made that I wish I had made more clearly. And there are some that I made that I wish I had not made at all. And obviously in the heat of campaigns, that happens to all of us, but I regret that, and now it's time to move on.
Do you feel like what you said at the convention, the Republican convention, sir, specifically about Obama?
I really want to leave my statement to that. What I said at the convention was to explain why I was supporting Senator McCain.
Do you feel as though that you have been chastened in any way?
Well, I think this was done in a spirit of reconciliation, and I think my colleagues voted overwhelmingly to go forward in a positive way, which is exactly the way that I intend to go forward. So I appreciate their respect for my independence of mind, and that's who I am. But I've also been for 45 years a Democrat, and for the last 20, what I consider to be a member in good standing of the Senate Democratic Caucus. So that's what the record shows, and I look forward to continuing to serve my nation and my state in the position I have, and particularly with great enthusiasm and a sense of purpose to continue to be chairman of the Homeland Security Committee and chairman of the Airland Committee. Senator Reid, I want to make clear, Senator Reid asked me to relinquish my seat on the Environment Committee in the spirit of cooperation, in part to make room for freshman senators, new senators who wanted to be on that committee. I said I would, in the spirit of cooperation, do that. That's a committee that I have been actively involved in, and in recent years, particularly on matters related to doing something about global warming. But I will just continue to do that off the committee. In fact, Senator McCain and I, soon after the 111th session convenes, will introduce the latest version of our anti-global warming bill.
It's not just the subcommittee chairman.
That's true. Incidentally, Senator Reid will be imposing a new rule in light of, that is, will be applying a rule that exists in the Senate but hasn't been in light of the new members, the larger Democratic caucus, which is that each member can only be the chairman of one full committee and the chairman of one subcommittee. So in that regard, I am very grateful to continue as chairman of Homeland Security and of the Airland Subcommittee of Armed Services, which oversees all Army and Air Force programs.
Seriously, how seriously did you consider?
Thank you, Senator.